welcome you to this wonderful evening. And let me welcome our guest speaker this evening with my utmost respect, Ajahn Sujan from Varapunya Center in Edinburgh. So he came all the way from Scotland with lots of compassion for us to deliver this Dhamma talk. I'm so happy to see you here, Bhante, for accepting our invitation and came all the way from Scotland to deliver this Dhamma talk. This is our fifth Dhamma talk. We started this series of talks in November. So every month we'll have either second or third week of the month we'll have this talk series. So we would like to invite all of you for our future events too. So let me give you a bit of description about Bhante. Bhante was born in Nepal in 1978, received a basic education at the village school and attended the Fine Art College in Kathmandu. His journey began in Buddhism while he was in the college, and he showed his interest in early 90s. His spiritual journey began in 1997. Ajahn became a monk in 1998, and he later moved to Thailand for his higher education and obtained a degree. So he ordained as a monk at Wat Pak Nam in Bangkok, isn't it? Pak Nam in Bangkok, under the preceptor late Most Venerable Somdet Phra. Oh, that's a long name.
Maharaja Mangalachan.
Maharaja Mangalachan. Okay. Okay, then he studied bachelor's in religious studies and later gained master's degree in Buddhist studies from Mahachulalongkorn University in Thailand. I know now he's learning for his PhD. It's not mentioned in this. Okay. Right. Then lately he came to UK in 2005 and invited by the Indian Buddhist community in Wolverhampton, and later moved to Thai temple at King's Bromley in 2007. Now in 2011 he was assigned to Aberdeen, where he established a Varapunya Meditation Center. So he's the current abbot of the Varapunya Meditation Center and the trustee and a meditation master. So it's a beautiful place. I haven't been to, but as far as I know, he's established the Uposatana, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's a meditation center. You all will come to go there and meditate. He organized regular retreats and conduct Dhamma talks and Zoom talks and meditation online too. So please follow his website, Varapunya Meditation Center, for latest. Okay, thank you so much for coming again, Bhante. Please, I would like to invite you to do the Dhamma talk from now. Thank you so much.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. And thank you for this introduction of my journey. Actually, I told Sukitamano that it's far away. I better find someone here in London. And then Ajahn Lau, or Chokun Lau, he said, we will invite other monks as well, but this time your turn. Then I thought about it, and I was a bit nervous as well, giving a talk in front of a senior monk, which I am not used to. And in particular, in front of Ajahn Lau, from my recollection, I haven't given any formal talks yet. Always sitting behind and just listening his insights. And sometimes it's quite difficult to grasp as well. So today's topic again, initially, I wasn't sure which topic to talk about. And then Sukita Mano pressed me, Achan, it would be good to have a the title. Then that really kind of gave me a long pause and I think about the talk. Which topic should I say or should I give? And it was early morning. I was doing my regular chanting and reading the suttas and meditation. And I thought, journey, where does it end? Would be, I think, more relaxed and probably easy to talk about. As we know, we all have our own individual journeys so far. Like already mentioned about my journey, where I was born, where I had been, and how come I am here now. So it's another journey too. And I do believe that every one of us have got our own personal journey. Some are good, many may not be good. Right? The journey, and we can reflect on that, our own journey. As the introduction given, I wasn't born Buddhist. And it was quite a journey to kind of a converting to be a Buddhist monk. When I had this permission to be a Buddhist monk, then again there was a kind of a condition that you should not travel abroad. But within 1 year, it was like beginning of my new journey. Now 27 years already away from the country. So all of us have traveled from different places to the different place. Now when we look at that, when we look at our journey, and if you reflect on your own journey, where do you think that ends? What is the purpose of this journey that we are looking for? So every day we are thinking of something, and then that's why we walk, that's why we travel, and then once we arrived somewhere that we intended to be, then does that end there? But somehow that doesn't end over there. Then again, a new journey starts. So journey, we've been always traveling again and again, a new journey developing. So the question is, where does it end? Then when I was reflecting on that, then there's a possibility that we can end it as well. That it probably a bit difficult for us at the moment, and we haven't properly yet. But if you look at the life of the Buddha and his previous lives, if we believe the previous lives or a life after deaths, then we see that the day before he took this decision that I will be the Buddha in the future, that was like towards the ending of his journey. And that journey, the beginning of that decision that he made, and that was again another quite interesting moment. So he was already meditating, and according to the scripture suggests that he had attained absorptions, higher degree of meditative states. And from that, according to the meditation achievements, it suggests that he would be reborn in so-called the very highest heavenly world, called the Brahma world. But he wasn't satisfied with that one. After seeing that someone who had attained the end of this journey. That was the Buddha. And after seeing that, then he made his new journey. But that journey was towards the ending this entire journey in the samsara, the cycle of a death and a rebirth again and again. And that's how after, according to this scripture suggests, 4 uncountable aeons, and as it says, uncountable, and I don't know how to count it. So 4 uncountable aeons of this returning back into the samsara, then he finally become the prince of Kapilavastu, now currently in Nepal. Now that's 2,600 years ago. After he reborn as a prince, then again finally his destination was different. His parents had different thoughts, different plans, but his destination was different. And he took another journey by living the palace life, and spent 6 years practicing, and eventually he became the Buddha. And that is the end of his journey. So looking at that one, when we reflect to ourselves, are we looking for that ending of this journey? Or are we simply looking for this journey towards so-called happiness in this life before we death, or before our death? Or after this, until like many lifetimes, and then eventually attaining this so-called nirvana or nibbana, and that's the ending. And when we look at this a journey and the ending, and if we investigate in our own hearts and minds, then we can ask this question to ourselves, that are we looking this journey to be end just in this life, or in the cycle of a birth and a death called a samsara? According to this scripture, particular this word comes in the Karaniya Metta Sutta. This Karaniya Metta Sutta was again the Buddha gave to the monks, those who went out to meditate in the forests, and somehow they were haunted by this so-called spirits, and they couldn't stay in that forest meditating, so they ran away from that forest to see the Buddha. And then having seen their capability to be attained in a certain noblehood states, then the Buddha summoned them to go back to the same forest and meditate there. But they were given this particular discourse to recite as they were approaching to this forest, and then they will be meditating there. And after the end of this vassa, they all became a noblehood. So in this particular discourse, there was a word. So there is a word called sampavesi, which is in Thai quite scary. That after you die, your soul will be searching somewhere to be reborn. So that is the translation. And that's why whenever somebody dies, in particular in Thai tradition, we'll be asking, probably there are ghosts who are scared of that, and talking about, will that person come back again and scare you? Or sometimes you may be thinking of maybe he or she is walking upstairs and scare you like that. And they normally call it sampavesi. Right? But that is not the correct translation in the Thai tradition. Right? In a Buddhist concept, a sampavesi means a person or a being who is traveling in this samsara, the cycle of a birth and a death, endlessly. And that traveling in the samsara is basically, it's like an endlessly traveling, and that because of not knowing what should be known. The very moment when we understand that, then we are walking towards the ending of this cycle of birth and death, the samsara. And sometimes it is also known as the spiritual liberation, or spiritually ending ourselves. And that can be very scary as well. I remember once there was one gentleman asked me about the ultimate goal of a Buddhist meditation. And then I responded by saying that ultimate goal of Buddhism or Buddhist meditation is to attain the Nibbana. And he asked me again, what is Nibbana? What will happen after that Nibbana? Where will I be? Yeah? So what is Nibbana is there is no I. And the question is, where will I be? Then that can be very scary, because you're always attached to so-called I-ness. This is me. This is I am. Now if you question yourself, who am I? How would you define? We normally define ourselves by name. This is my name, so this is I am. Or by nationality, or by ethnicity, right? Or by being religious, or let's say Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, like that. And we are so attached to that, and as a result of that, it's very difficult to comprehend the concept where there will be no I. And that's why Buddhism can be very scary, thinking about ending our journey. And this is actually the reason why the Buddhist philosophy is very different than any other philosophies. In the past, when the Buddha was still unenlightened, at that time again there were so many different theories of what will be after we die. So there were very conflicting theories there. One group of people will be saying that there is after death. After death, then you will be reborning again and again and again and again, and eventually you purify yourself so that you will be so-called reuniting with the Atman, so-called higher soul, up in somewhere heavens. So for eternity. But before attaining that eternity, you have to reborn again and again, purifying yourself in accordance with the instructions that given by this higher soul. That was one theory. And another theory was, there is no after death. There is nothing. So enjoy your life. Even if you have to borrow money, borrow, and then enjoy your life. And don't think about any good or any bad. There is nothing after you die. So do not think about it. And pretty much this theory still exists even now. Many people, particularly before maybe let's say 50 years, 50 years of age of ourselves, we will be thinking, oh, life is beautiful and we enjoy everything, whatever comes in front of us. Right? But after 50 years later, gradually we think about, what should I do? Days are coming short. Life is getting short. What should I do now? And then we gradually, whether we like it or not, psychologically we are drawn towards the spirituality, thinking of this ending. how should I be after? Right? So we are drawn to the spirituality like that. Now, whereas the Buddhism is very different here. Buddhism did not deny the cycle of a birth and a death, but it denies the reunion with this greater soul, and as well as that there is nothing after death. So we have to reborn again and again simply to purify ourselves. And this purification is not to be reborn or to reunite with this greater soul, but to purify ourselves so that ultimately we realize that the self itself is nothing. Where is this self? The concept that I hold on to, where is this self? So there is no self. And this is quite a scary ending. That's why Buddhism seems very simple in a theory, right? But when we dive into the details of it, eventually we come to the stage that there is nothing after death. Then why should I practice Buddhism? Why should I meditate? It's so boring, empty there. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be nothingness or nobody after me dying. So that's why it can be very scary too, right? Now, with that concept, if you reflect, right, you will realize that although I want to be end of my journey, but ultimately I don't want, because I still want to be exist in somewhere, in something, and that's called a Sambhavesi, right? So reborning again and again, traveling in this samsara, and then complaining about it, and we are very good at it anyway. Complaining about why am I having this suffering? Why am I having this stress? Why am I having this distress? And why am I having to deal with these troubles? Goes on and on. And when we face with these problems, and we think that I want to end it, and when it comes to the path that you are following towards the ending, and eventually you realize, oh, I don't want to be there. And it reminds me of one story that I was told when I was in the Staffordshire temple, King's Bromley, and this story was told. I was told that this was real. And this monk came from northern part of Thailand, and there was a couple, late 70s. They were very devoted, so they wanted to accumulate more merit so that they will be reborn in the heavens. So every morning, 6 o'clock, they will be reciting and chanting. Sorry, not 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Walks up and prepare themselves, both of them, and then will be chanting out loud. And they were nearby the flats where so many other people are also staying. And these flats, the members of this those who were living in this flat, these flats, annoyed of this chanting. And they went up to ask for later chanting or a little quieter chanting. But being a real Buddhist, kind of, and very devoted, so they denied and they continued. And that really annoyed the rest of other residents there. Then they come up with the plan. So one gentleman wore a very sparkly clothes and then went into this couple's house and hide behind the Buddha statue. Right? And as they started, and it's still dark, so because that was 4 o'clock, as soon as they started chanting out loud, this man slowly appears like a ghost, like just making a sound and sparkling like that. Then there's husband looks at wife, and the wife looks at the husband, and something is happening terribly, something going to happen, right? Then after these both were kind of scared, then this gentleman spoke, saying, I am here to take you to the heavens. Who wants to go first? So both looked at themselves, and then they gave a very good excuse. They say, oh, I haven't seen my grandchildren, those who are living in Bangkok. I have to look after them first. So like that, we want to be reborn, or our destination, we think of that. But sometimes when that comes, we always have something to excuse of it and do not want to be there. But whether like it or not, according to the Buddhist principles, whatever actions that we have done within our with intention, that actually already defined our destination, whether we like it or not. Right? So that destination doesn't mean that ending again. It's not the end. That's another beginning. It's like a matrix. You just open the door and then you find another door again. So that's what the Buddhist principle, that we have to reborn and we have to continue our journey to the next after next. We got to remember that these journeys are actually the result of what I have done or what I am doing. And that defines. So that's why the Buddhist principle that whatever I am now is the result of the past, and whatever will be is the result of now, what I am doing. So based on that, that's why in Buddhism there are this concept called the cosmology, right? Or planes of existence. There are so many planes of existence. And if you want to only read that planes of existence, the book is like this thick. And the summary, 31 planes of existence that we will be reborning again and again, again and again, based on whatever action that we are doing now. So that's why whether you do good, whether you do bad, the destination is there, but that destination is not the end. It's just another destination, another journey. But the Buddhist principle is not just the continuing in this journey or this samsara, but try to find the way out so that we don't have to reborn in these planes of existence, 31 planes of existence. That's why this is the path that the Buddha spoke about. So that the Buddha's teaching is not about what is there, because that is always there, whether Buddha was born or not. Even the Buddha also mentioned that. Things were there, are there, will be there. So it's not about what is there. It's about how you're going to deal with it. It's the path. So that's why if you look at the Four Noble Truths, number 1 says suffering or a dukkha. This suffering has a cause. And this suffering can be ended. So these 3 principles are always there, whether we like it or not, whether we know it or not. But the 4th principle that the Buddha proclaimed, and that's called the Magga, which means the path, the journey that we are taking on to. And if we know how to walk on this principle, then that eventually leads to the ending of the journey. And that is the Nibbana. Now this Eightfold Noble Path, that's why this is the Buddha's teaching. Actually, this is the path that the Buddha told us to walk on it. If we can walk on this path, then eventually we will be arriving this destination so-called Nirvana. And this path, again, first principle is to have a right understanding of the things. Whatever we experience, we got to have a right understanding on that. Without having any attachment, without having any craving to it, but having a clear understanding of it that this is the changing nature. This is the changing nature, this is the impermanent. Whether we like it or not, whether we understand it or not, this is always like that. The very moment when we have this right understanding of things that we come across with this, then rest will take care of itself. We will be thinking right, we'll be speaking right, we'll be doing right. Whatever effort that we are applying, that will be right as well. We will be doing with mindfulness and awareness. And with that mindful action, no need to worry about anything that we are doing. So each and every action that we are performing in this very moment, that simply ends at that very moment. And this ending of every moment actually leading towards the complete ending. So every moment that we leave or ending it without having any attachment and any craving, by accumulation of that moment by moment, moment by moment, it's like a drop of water, and eventually it just fills, and then we arrive the destination. So the temple that I was ordained in Thailand, then this monk was very famous for the teaching called the meditation called the Dhammakaya meditation. And one of his key principle or key teachings that I really like, he said, in a worldly affairs or worldly living, in order to reach the destination, you have to have a fastest vehicle so that you reach the destination. But in a spiritual journey, it's not that. The moment when you stop, you have arrived. Right? So I will end here with this. So thank you. So I think if anybody wants to ask any question, you're welcome. It sounds like you have stopped. Yes? Do you want to have a mic here? Microphone? Come on. Sure.
I just noticed, obviously, your English is like basically fluent. I noticed you're speaking Thai as well. I was wondering, how have you managed to learn so many languages so fluently? And how could you sort of implement your practice of meditation and stuff in relation to that to help maybe with being more patient with learning languages and also retaining the information, if that makes sense?
Although many people think that my English is good, but I still struggle. I'm still struggling. That's why nowadays I use ChatGPT, so to make it more professional. And even like a Thai language that I speak, although it seems fluent, but not. Right? Often I have to repeat many times to convey the message. As you know, it's very tonal language, and it's up to the tone, high or low tone, and meaning can be changed completely different language, different meaning. It's an ongoing process, actually. Now, I was in Thailand for 8 years, but I wasn't good in Thai language. I became a fluent Thai speaker in England. while I was living in Kings Bromley. Okay, and English language I'm still studying, and recently I have also registered myself to study ESOL at the Aberdeen College, so waiting for the confirmation again. And funny enough, I feel more comfortable to speak in Thai language than even my own mother tongue. Okay. Now, my mother tongue is called Newari. I can speak, but I cannot write. Okay. And in terms of the Nepalese language, which is the national language, I can read, I understand, but when I have to write it, then lots of grammatical errors. Now, in terms of applying for the practice of a meditation, having different languages, it helps to open my kind of doors to read from different teachers and different books and different languages. But I never thought that how patient I should be to learn a language. But I remember when I was in Kings Bromley for 2 years, I told to myself that I am not going to read any Thai for 2 years, because I was speaking in Thai, dealing with the Thai people. So 2 years I didn't read Thai, but I put a lot of effort to read in English. And even when writing any messages on Facebook or chats, I try to make all the sentences perfect as possible, as much as possible. And that's how I kind of get used to with it. And in the meantime, I was very patient in terms of listening English talks. Like those days, Ajahn Brahm, who again English monk living in Australia. So listen his talk up to the stage that I come that when he speaks, kind of okay, now this talk I should listen and this talk I shouldn't. I didn't see any essence like for me like that. Then after that I listened Ajahn the Sumedo. When I began to listen his talks, then I felt like he is talking through the experiences, and these experiences will actually resonate when we meditate, and those talks really help to practice more. So I like that. Obviously, it requires a lot of patience, and as a result of that, I have started a session in Nepalese language, and that's simply to practice myself. And that's why whenever I am teaching or giving a talk, I always take it myself as this is my practice. So this is what I'm doing. And it's still ongoing. Yeah. Yes.
How do we know if we were born before?
How do we know? Yeah. A good question, and I can't answer. Unless you have meditated, and if you have attained certain stages of your mental states, and then there is a possibility that you may be able to recall your previous lives. Some would remember only 1 or 2, or many can remember many lifetimes. Right? Now, recently I was on one of the courses, and this gentleman from Thailand, he was kind of giving a talk based on his previous lives. And he was explaining that in certain lives, he was experiencing these difficulties and these problems because in previous life he had done that or this. Now, when I was listening to that, there is possibility as well as a fantasy. Fantasy in a sense that if he had read all those Buddha's life histories, previous life histories, you could make it out. That this life he was experiencing it, these troubles because of like that. And because if you investigate the moment when the Buddha enlightened, before he enlightened, a first knowledge that he accomplished was understanding his previous lives. It's called a Pubbē Nivāsānussati-ñāna. In that Pubbē Nivāsānussati-ñāna, the previous lives, he was kind of investigating in a millimeter or millisecond moments of this, all his previous lives, and able to investigate that I am having this troubles, or this benefits in this life and in that life. Why? Then he was going back to his previous life. And that again, we have to remember, not immediate previous lives. It could be thousands of previous lives, and then that reflecting. And after he investigate on that entire his ins and out, and that's how the cause and effect theory emerges. And after he investigated his previous lives and he understood that I experienced this and this because of that and that, was that only me? Or is it to other people as well, other beings? So that's why the second knowledge he acquired was able to investigate other beings, how they are reborning, and what is the cause and effects of that. So he was able to completely investigate on that. Then after that two coming together, after he analyzed in both ways, then he realized, the reason that every beings are taking rebirths in a new life and this samsara going again and again, because of these called defilements, asavas, taints. And those defilements were greed, hatred, and ignorance, in a summary. After that, he realized that these are the three main root causes that causing me to be reborn, or all the beings are getting rebirths. Then he just removed that, just stopped continuing these three roots. And that was the third knowledge that he acquired, called the Asavakkaya Ñāna. After this, then he formed the entire teaching into a short form that's called the Four Noble Truths. Right? And that's how the Four Noble Truths comes. But in order to understand this Four Noble Truths, that's why we have to understand the cause and effects. And as we meditate, and all the effects that we are experiencing, or whatever things that we are experiencing in these days, actually it has a cause and effects, and we're able to see that how things emerging and how things are causing, and why am I having these stages, these mental states. So the more your mind becomes subtler and subtler, you begin to notice your thought processes. And then not only able to notice these thoughts, but you're also able to notice the formation of these thoughts, and what is the cause of the forming these thoughts. And then when you notice that, and you goes back into the stage that is it a me, or is it the consciousness, so-called, or is it the awareness that causing these things to continue? And it comes to the space like you are in a duality, yes or a no, yes or a no. In that moment, we have to develop the so-called wise attention, or yoniso manasikara, reflective understanding on the things that we are experiencing. Then we realize the knower itself actually the conditioner. And if we can take away that, and that is the ending. The problem is it's still hard to take away that condition. So with that, then what happens that at that moment, mind becomes so still and clear, and with that we can remember all these process, how things are happening now. Right? So there is a possibility, but it's up to us to develop our meditation. Right? Yes?
How does Buddhism deal with like a first cause? So for example, didn't Buddha say that samsara has no discoverable beginning? But then most sort of modern Western thinkers, religions claim that there has to be like a first cause. So I've been trying to find out what is the Buddhist, like how do they explain the issue with the first cause?
The question itself is not right here, according to Buddhism, because the concept in Buddhism that nothing arises by single cause. Okay? It has to have many different things coming together, only then things appears. Now think about from the science perspective. Like let's say an atom. Atom is the tiniest particle of everything. And this atom itself, again, combination of so many other factors, at least 3, as the science says. But the very moment if you disconnect even just a one particle, electron, then there is no atom, right? So, in order to have one atom, you have to have so many factors. Only then one atom arises. So that's why whatever things created, so-called, or arises, it has many other factors coming together. Right? So that's why I said the question is not right. Yes?
The only reason I ask is because like in a lot of Western religions, like Abrahamic faiths, they tend to claim that because you must have a first cause, they tend to claim that is why God is necessary as a first cause, as like he's always there and then he creates everything. But Buddhism doesn't have, I believe, a creator God. So I'm just trying to understand how they deal with the idea of needing a first cause to start the whole process of just,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, actually, I just came a little late, but actually I mentioned of that before the Buddhism emerges, that there is a concept of ending the life or the end of the journey is to reunite with the greater soul. But I didn't say the God, but because in Buddhism there is no concept said about the God, but there says a greater God, is a greater soul. That's why I referred to that one. And now a later interpretation that you can say that is the God, like a concept of the God. So to be reunited with this greater soul, it's called Atman or Brahman. Okay? So this Atman is being reunited with this greater soul. And that was one concept, as I said. Right?
From Hinduism, right?
In Hinduism. And in the same time, there were other philosophies or theories that after death there is nothing, so-called a Charavak philosophy at that time. So these were there even during the time of the Buddha. But the Buddha said that it's not about the belief. We have to remember here. In a, let's say, Abrahamical religion, we say you have to believe. But we have to remember in Buddhism, there is no such things called you have to believe. Okay? Buddha simply said, come and investigate. So it's invitation to investigate on that teachings. And then after you have properly investigated, then you will develop this confidence that, okay, these are the things. Then, that moment, you will have this confidence called a saddha, and that will become a very firmly established. Now, if you really want to gain this saddha, then if you practice meditation in particular, I would refer. Initially, you never know your own breath, right? This breath is our life. The very moment when we were born, this breath is actually keeping us alive. How often do we know this breath? We don't know, right? The moment when we meditate and we become conscious of this breath, then we develop confidence that this breath is actually our life, and that actually affects our body and affects our mind. It's so connected, our physical well-being and mental well-being. And with that, what happens? Your faith develops in the practice. Yes, I have to meditate. Let's pay attention to this breath. Doesn't matter how many times. Whenever I remember, I will pay my attention to this breath. And after that, every time when you pay attention to this breath, you realize karma, right? You realize peace. And also, you realize that you are grounded here and now. And certainly, some basic understanding emerges. You feel the air, you feel the sound, you feel that your presence is here. Your life becomes so precious now. So that's how gradually you develop your confidence in the practice. And then gradually this confidence helps you to understand things slowly, bit by bit, bit by bit. And with that, the perception that you have gradually changes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone? Sounds we have to end, or? Okay. So Kitamana, do you have anything to?
We have half an hour more, so.
Oh.
If you have more questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you for your talk. It was very enlightening. So when you were talking about investigation, you talked about the nirvana. One of the things I've heard about about nirvana itself is like the extinguishing of, and you talked about almost like the extinguishing of the ego, and you talked about losing the ego that I am. So when you've done your investigations, have you got any examples? There have been times when either through meditation or just experience where you've discerned something that says, yeah, that shows me that there is no I or I am, or either through an experience of being on the tube or on a train, or just meditation, sitting down. Are there any of those moments when you've sort of seen it and felt it, experienced it, and it's sort of light bulbs come on above your head? and said, yeah, I have confidence that this is true. Yeah.
Mm. Yes, I have experienced, and that's again nowadays is a part of my reflection every day. And that's why I even always say to so-called all the Buddhists that as long as you haven't understood the concept of this I, then you are not a Buddhist yet. If you are a true Buddhist, then there will be no concept of I am a Buddhist. So that's why the first, in Buddhism, there are 4 noble hoods, so-called Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arhat. Sotapanna is the first stage of a noble hood, and so-called stream enterer. Once you have gained this full confidence in the teachings and you have seen and this concept of the I properly, then you will give up the concept of I am. The very moment when you able to give up or understand that there is no concept of I am, then that's the beginning of being a true Buddhist. At that time, you will not be calling that I am Buddhist, you are not. I am English, you are not. There will be no nationalists. Everybody will be the same. And that again, there is a simile that actually that comes in the suttas. There is a simile Buddha gave that grasses, always grasses, they will not fight one another. Trees, they will not fight one another. Always trees. Right? For humans, because of this concept of I am, maybe I am a Buddhist, then we create, oh, they are Christians. Then we build up these boundaries. The moment when we develop these boundaries, then conflict bound to happen. Right? So that's why the moment when you have realized that, then you simply see everybody are same, no different. Right? This, now, in the practice of a meditation, when you experience that, you have to go and speak with the teacher. If you do not go and speak with the teacher, that can make you mad. Okay? So that can make you mad. So that's why, be careful. Yeah? Be careful. If you have experienced that and you feel that you are having that sort of experiences again and again coming back, do not hesitate to talk to a meditation monk. Just go and express it. Then there will be another way out from it. Yeah? Now, I live alone in Aberdeen, and spend a lot of time walking in our woodlands that we have planted about 3,000 or 4,000 trees, and spend in that woodlands. And there was a moment that, I don't know how to express, but this is the moment that nothing exists. Trees, the nature, and even myself. Right? And that stayed with me for many weeks. At that time, whenever I see other people, I feel so sad. And I feel so sorry. Okay? And when I see children, then I feel more sorry for them, that they haven't experienced this life yet. If they have known this life is so terribly competitive and terribly so hard living in this world, they would not come. They would rather stay in mummy's tummy, or somewhere in the galaxies, and will not come to this world. Like those, and the feelings always comes. And you see everybody, in a sense, that experiencing suffering And then there's a compassion comes through your heart, and the bottom of your heart, this emerges whenever you see other people or even the beings that wish they have understood so that they can be free. Like that. Right? And there was a moment that I even had this thought of killing myself. Okay? Thought of killing myself. Then I collected my feelings and I spoke with the teacher, which I was very afraid to talk. Do you know why? I developed the concept of I am a meditation teacher. If I ask this question to the teacher, I am bringing shame on me. That stopped speaking with him for many weeks. And eventually, somehow I gathered this courage and spoke with him. And within this, just 1 second, when he mentioned that one, then it's like liberating. Liberating. Then after that, becomes normal. Right? So that's why in the practice of a meditation, there's something very amazing that happens, and there are so many stages of meditation states. Now, if you study so-called Vipassana jnanas, there are 16 stages of jnanas. Each stages has a very detailed experiences. Now, if you read, you may have a knowledge, but you haven't experienced it. But if you have experienced it, those knowledge those words or the sentences that are described in the books becomes very limited. It's just like a signposts there. In a true practice will be very, very different. So that's how the journey simply goes on and on. And if you have attained the so-called 16 stages of a jnana, the knowledge, then you're liberated. Even like in there's the breathing meditation, discourse on a breathing meditation. We know that there is this called the mindfulness of the breath. But in this practice, there are 16 stages of the practice. And within that 16 stages of a breathing meditation practice, if you really deep into it, there's 32 different ways of dealing with that. And eventually it comes to the stage that I have enough of it. Let this nature take care of itself. That's the end one. Patinissaka. That means let this nature take care of itself. I have nothing to do with this. The moment when you can live like that, nothing to worry. It's okay. Things gonna be fine. Right? And lately, I have been thinking and reflecting that in a modern world, we always seek an assistant to live healthy life, long life. And we all have this fear of a death. We all have this fear of a death. And that's why we're doing so many things. Simply thinking that I will be surviving for a long, long time. Whether we like it or not. It's there coming, and we do not know when. Now, if we reflect on that, then we will not be afraid of this end. We will be waiting for it. I'm ready when you're coming, because I know that this is not my end. It's coming to be new. Right? So with that, then we are always ready to experience it. So you don't have any fear. Now, I was just telling this story to the Gavin yesterday when we were flying. I had always this kind of a crazy desire. Whenever I got into the flight, I enjoy being on the flight. Do you know why? Because if something happens, your death is imminent. It's done. No pain, no cries, no bother. Gone. Ending. Right? And then later on, it's not long ago actually, just before the COVID, I thought, this is not fair for other old people. So then I changed my mind, and whenever I go onto the flight, okay, no troubles. So that's why practice of a meditation is something that really helps us to see and keeps us calm all the time. Whatever happens, it's okay. Why worry? And this is not the end of the journey. We're going again. Some people, like I was asked, are you enlightened? Then I said, if I am enlightened, I won't be angry at you. So that's why journey is continuing. The ending is the way we look at it, which way we want to see it. And then that's how it will shape our life ahead. Right.
Thank you. I don't know, anyone else?
Can I ask a question? I've been a bit confused about reading in the Dharmapada for years. And I actually wrote to Ajahn Munindo for an explanation, and he just referred me to other parts of the literature, which I thought was a bit of a cop-out, you know. So I wanted to ask you. It's 283, and it's from The Path. Clear away the forests of craving, but do not attack and destroy the trees. Clear the entire forest of craving, and you will see the way to freedom. Have you got a take on that, how you destroy a forest without taking away the trees?
Sukhitamana, do you have anything on that?
Yeah.
Clearing the cravings without destroying the trees.
Clear away the forests of craving, but do not attack and destroy the trees. Clear the entire forest of craving, and you will see the way to freedom.
No, that's the simile. That's the simile. The forest is a simile, and the craving is the defilements. So when we deal with these defilements, we are not invading or. So if we look at this, I haven't read that Dhammapada. Okay, first of all, clear. Although I've been a monk for a long time, I haven't read all the scripture yet. Okay? So, in the Satipatthana, now in the practice of a meditation, if we practice the samatha meditation or concentration meditation, at that time we are suppressing the hindrances, right? All the 5 hindrances. We are suppressing it, not allowing it to invade our concentration. Whereas in the practice of insight meditation, we are not suppressing it. We are allowing it to happen, but not any influencing ourselves. Nothing to do. So when it comes, old friend, you have arrived. So I'm not going to give I'm not giving you a cup of tea. Right? So it's like a postman comes, thank you for the post, goodbye. So like that. And that's how we deal with these 5 hindrances. And with that, then these 5 hindrances slowly disappears. That disappears doesn't mean disappears from the world. It's there, but it will not be able to influence us. Whenever it comes, it's like a postman comes, we know it has arrived, goodbye, like that. And that is how we will be able to take away this desire on the things that we come across. That eye sees, ear hears, nose, tongue, and a body comes to contact with the things. Then we are not interfering with them, but we are simply not allowing it. So I think that's how it is been explained, but I'm not sure exactly. So I have to look at in detail in that.
Sort of non-judgmental awareness, just accepting things as they are.
So this non-judgmental, very tricky one. Okay? Buddhist teaching, so Buddha's meditation is does not finish at non-judgmental. You have to investigate. Okay? That's called a yoniso manasikara, wise investigation. You have to investigate in it into such a detail of that particular so-called sabhava, or the phenomena that arises. Then you realize in its inside and outside. And once you have fully understood ins and out, you don't need to worry about it at all. So it's not just about the non-judgmental, but you have to have this wise reflection. So that's why I come up with this in a simile. It's about the toilet. Do you know where is the toilet here? Do you know? Yeah, our gentleman doesn't know. When will you ask a toilet for? When will you ask, where is the toilet?
When you want to go.
When you want to go. How do you know you want to go?
You feel it.
You feel it. What do you feel it?
Well, it all depends.
Right? So, the thing that causes a trouble to you, physically, right? When this trouble comes, then you realize it. Yeah? Realize that I need this to take out. Then you look for the toilet. Then you ask for the toilet. Once you finished, sit in the toilet and you release, isn't that heaven on earth? That's why in Thai language it's called sukha. That means happiness. You release and you got happiness there. So I call it heaven on earth. Right? Once you have released and you finished the job, you close the door, you come out, will you think of that in the toilet? So remember, you're going to flush it away. If you don't flush it away, it becomes stink, right? So likewise, practice of a meditation is to see everything in detail and seeing that these are dangerous for me, for my well-being. Once you have seen it, will you worry of that? No. You will simply let it go. Flush it away, be happy. Right? So that's why I call mindfulness meditation is a toilet for the mind. And this toilet is with you all the time. What you need is this moment of, now I have this toilet, I just need to unlock, go and sit down. That's it. So every time when you feel stressed, unhappy, think about this toilet. Just sit quietly. Release and remember, flush it away. Done. Okay? So like that. So that's why in the practice of a Buddhist meditation, it's not about a non-judgmental. You have to realize it, and then you have to investigate it properly so that you know ins and out completely and realize that these are actually the cause of the problem. Then just leave it away. And that's how we will be able to let go of these all the defilements. Right?
Thank you.
I hope that, yeah.
Certainly did.
Yeah.
Very descriptive.
Yes?
Going back to the point where you were saying that judging and saying all this is okay, because that's my question. In Buddhism, they say that craving. Sorry, thank you. Cheers. They say that craving is the the cause, right, of suffering. But I always wonder, you know, about the difference between judging and craving. So I suppose maybe the judging, because they say craving is the root cause. So I suppose judging, which may come before, may be not the cause of suffering. It's the craving. It's just.
No.
I suppose it's very like close, maybe.
Yeah. So craving, there in the Buddhist concept, there are two things in terms of the craving. One craving that continues, let's say, sex. Doesn't matter how many times you consume, never ends. You always want it, right? But there is another concept. It's called a chanda. Okay, and English translation, I normally say positive craving. That means, suppose, if you want to go somewhere, let's say coming to the temple here tonight, after you have arrived, there will be no further craving because the job has been fulfilled. Okay? So that craving is different than the first craving, which is the negative craving. And then, in terms of the judgment and wise reflection, the judgment is always a bias. Right? Whatever we judge, this judgment is always biased, and this biasness comes from many different ways. In Buddhism, at least 4 ways. But the last one is quite interesting, and that judgment is because the things that we have come across with and we haven't understood it yet. And as a result, we judge things based on what I think, what I have been through, what I perceive it. Right? So that judgment, the result of that judgment is always bias. And the result that can lead to something can be disaster. But wise reflection is different. In the wise reflection, there is no judgment. There is no, these 4 different biasness are not there. It's a pure knowing. So that's how, in the practice of a meditation, you are investigating things without having any biasness in it, but through realization there.
So if I can just ask you again another question.
Can you turn on the...
Hello? Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry. So if I can just ask, when you were saying, so in terms of the judgment, in terms of a negative craving, does the judgment happen before the craving? Is it, I suppose, feeling, because in the 12 factors, they go feeling and craving, but I was wondering if maybe judgment is in between the feeling and then after feeling, maybe before the craving arises, but it's not the cause of suffering, but craving is the negative craving.
There are a long process, okay? And the craving is the result of that process. So in the Buddhist concept, now again, I think I mentioned that already about how the mind works and how it forms. Now, if we look at the process of this mind creation, I haven't seen all these 17 stages, but I have read about it. I have experienced only maybe half of it, this tiny ways of creating. Now, the moment when we experience this feeling, if we do not have a right understanding, then we create the craving. But if we have a right understanding on that feeling, then there won't be a craving. Okay? So that's it comes into the so-called this theory called the Paticcasamuppada. If we study the Paticcasamuppada, now reading can be very difficult. This discourse, very tough and very difficult to comprehend. And even like during the time of the Buddha, Venerable Ananda was unable to comprehend it. And even the Buddha told him that don't say that you have fully understood Ananda. And that's simply because Ananda wasn't enlightened. So that's why, as for us, still walking the first step of this eighth one, maybe, it takes a long time. So this dependent origination, there is one comes, this feeling is the cause to arise the craving. Now, in order to get this feeling, then we have to go back, contact. And then goes back again. Without the contact, there won't be any feeling. And in order to have this contact, then there need, I suppose, I have to see the I objects. Then the contact comes. And this I seeing the object doesn't mean that fulfills the contact, you see. It has to have a consciousness involved. That's why we see so many things, but we recognize only something. And that something means our consciousness is pointed at there. And that's how we recognize that thing. See? So it goes back like that. Now, coming back to this feeling, the moment when we feel it, and if we have a right understanding, then that goes back to the ending of this journey. But if we do not have this right understanding, then we are continuing the journey. Right? Does that help you?
Yeah, no, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Anybody? Feel free. It's a learning time. If not any questions, then shall we do a little meditation to finish off? Okay. Right. So in that case, sitting in a comfortable position. Okay. Whichever way you feel comfortable. If you're sitting like that, then try to make sure that your feet are on the floor properly touched. And gently close your eyes. As you close your eyes, take away all the perceptions, even the perception of meditation. Just feel your body sitting here and now. Take away of, I have to do this or I have to do that when we meditate. Just bring your attention and feel your physical body, acknowledging that this is how I am sitting. Do nothing. Just feel your body. Now you realize mind goes away. Goes away to this, goes away to that. Now think about this mind as just a little pet, puppy dog. Do not shout, just bring it back to the body. Feel the awareness of this body, acknowledging I am sitting like this. And mind again and again goes away. So that is the nature of the mind. Our mind exists because of the object. Without an object, there is no mind. Now, because the mind always running away, we give this mind to play something with, like a little baby. We're giving toys to play with. Then it will play with this toy for some time. So like our mind, we give this to play with this breath. Now remember, take away the perception that I have to pay attention to this breath here or there. Just relax yourself and see, where do you feel this breath? No tension. Just feel and acknowledging. Sometimes you may be taking a long breath, or other time you may be taking just a gust of this breath. At that time, where do you feel this breath? You maybe feel this breath in your belly, or in your nose, or in your chest, or any other part of the body. Where do you think that you can see this breath or feel this breath again and again without any effort, without any interference with it? Now use that object as the anchoring point. Taking that object as your primary object, motivating yourself that, okay, I will bring this mind on this platform again and again. And gradually your mind settles in it. Now you've developed the focus attention. And that's called a concentration. Now try to be with it as long as you can. And that's how temporarily you're ending all the other disturbances. But that doesn't mean that your mind will not wander off. Whenever your mind wanders off, then again, observing, acknowledging, noting, let go and come back. Come back to this platform again. So repeatedly doing it again and again, then you realize these things are not permanent. They change. But we have this platform that I can come back and stay. I will practice the loving kindness meditation, so relax yourself and bring your attention to observe the sensations in your body. Whatever sensations are there, so mindfully aware of that. And bring that attention to your hands. So without moving your fingers or your hands, try to notice any sensations. A softness or hardness, cold or heat. And bring that attention to your heart area. Feel the beating heart. And if you can't feel the beating heart, physically smiling. So bring a smile on your face. And as you smile and feel the connection with your heart. And as you feel the connection with your heart, generating loving kindness and compassion to yourself. Allowing yourself to be happy, at peace, free from suffering. And mentally you may recite, may I be well. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. May I be liberated, liberated. Similarly, sharing loving kindness and compassion to all other sentient beings, starting from near dear one, or any particular person that you think that they need the most at the moment. Bring into your mind, sharing this loving thought. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering. May you be able to maintain your happiness. May you be liberated, liberated. Similarly, expanding this loving thoughts and compassion to all other sentient beings far and wide. Visible and invisible beings in this room, in this city, in this country, on earth, in the universe. May they be well. May they be happy. May they be at peace. May they be free from suffering. May they be free from hatred, hurtfulness, jealousy, ill will, animosities, and all the calamities. May they be able to maintain their happiness. May they be liberated, liberated. Now bring your attention back to your hands. Feel the sensations in your hands and to your body. And to your eyes. Notice any sensations around in your eyes and relax. And creating intention to open your eyes. And slowly open your eyes and back to the room. Sapphe Buddha Balapata Paccheka Nanchayang Balang Arahanta Nanchate Chena Rakhang Vandami Sabbaso Sabbabuddhanupavena Sabbathammanupavena Sabbasanghanupavena Sada Sote Bhavantu Te. Right, so thank you everyone for this night, and thank you Sukita Manu for invitation to share some of my thoughts.
Okay, thank you so much, Bhante, delivering such a wonderful talk, inspiring talk this evening. It is like a little seed that you plant on our heart that encourages us to investigate, Dhamma more, practice more, read more. So that's wonderful that all your talks always inspire us to practice more and experience it more. And also, we should thankful to Ajahn Lao, the abbot of Wat Buddha Padipa, for initiating this talk series since last November. Ajahn always wanted to spread the Dhamma to the community, and especially the local community. Since this is a Thai temple, most of the programs are predominantly for the Thai community, but Ajahn really wants to give more experience for the English speakers. That's why he initiated this project. So I really appreciate. We should thankful to Ajahn and Lavo for organizing these talk series. Thank you so much, Ajahn. Normally he is here to deliver this thanking note, but Ajahn is out of town, so I got the opportunity to thank all of you for coming. Even the weather is not very supportive, encouraging to go out, but you took you've been brave to come all the way to participate in these talks. Thank you so much again, and we have arranged some refreshments. Kamandeep arranged made some nice homemade, what are they called? Cookies. Yeah, cookies. Please enjoy the refreshments. Yeah, take your time and have a cup of tea before you go. Thank you so much again.
I brought some books there as well. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring many, so you can share there as well. Right, so shall we pay respect to the Buddha before we finish? Okay. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantang Abhivare Sawakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Thank you, everyone.